My parents humiliated me for years, praising my sister, while tearing me down. She's a top lawyer, and you're a disgrace. For 5 agonizing years, my parents never let me forget how much better my sister was than me. Olivia is a brilliant attorney. And you're just a failure, they'd sneer, their laughter echoing in my ears. Every family gathering, every holiday, every casual dinner, I was their favorite target. The punching bag they couldn't resist mocking. But yesterday, everything changed because of Olivia herself. The torment began the day Olivia graduated from law school. She walked into our parents' house, her diploma gleaming in one hand, a prestigious job offer in the other. From that moment on, she was their golden child, their pride and joy, while I became the family disappointment, the son they barely tolerated. My parents had always played favorites, but after Olivia's success, their bias turned cruel. "She's a lawyer, and you're a nobody," my father announced at dinner one night, smirking as my mother burst into laughter, wiping tears from her eyes. Olivia didn't even pretend to feel guilty. She just sipped her wine, her smug smile saying everything. The insults never stopped. Every birthday, every holiday, every forced Sunday dinner, I endured their ridicule. If I mentioned my job, my parents would roll their eyes. If I talked about a project I was passionate about, my mother would scoff. "Maybe someday you'll actually accomplish something." My father would just shake his head in disgust. And Olivia, she grew even more vicious. "Nate the Nothing," she once called me in front of our entire extended family. "You should print that on your business cards." The jabs were relentless. When Olivia bought a luxury car, my parents wouldn't stop bragging, asking when I'd finally stop driving my junk heap. When she bought a penthouse, they sneered, "Still renting like a broke college kid?" And when she vacationed in Europe, they'd say, "If you worked harder, maybe you could afford a real life." I tried defending myself. I tried ignoring them. I even stopped visiting for months. But nothing worked. The second I walked through their door, the torment resumed. The only people who ever stood up for me were my grandparents. My grandfather once snapped at my dad, "Enough." But my father just laughed. "We're just having fun," he said. My grandmother would whisper, "I'm proud of you." But it didn't change anything. Olivia was their star, and I was the failure they wished they could erase. Then came the phone call that changed everything. Late one night, Olivia called me, drunk and sobbing. She needed help. Not just money, but a place to stay. I almost hung up, but something made me listen. 6 months earlier, she'd begged me for $6,000, promising to pay me back. She never did. Now, she was calling again, but this time, she was desperate. "I have nowhere to go," she cried. Against my better judgment, I asked what happened. The truth poured out. She'd been fired from her high-powered law job months ago. She wouldn't say why, just that it was unfair. Then came the real shock. She'd blown through her savings, maxed out her credit cards, taken out loans, and worst of all, been secretly begging our parents for money. The same parents who mocked me for struggling had been bailing her out, paying her bills, shielding her from consequences. But the real kicker? Olivia had been supporting them for years. Their house, their vacations, their lavish lifestyle, all funded by her. Now, she was broke. "I had to sell my car," she whispered. "I'm losing my apartment. I have nothing left." I should have felt sorry for her, but instead I laughed. The golden child had fallen, and I knew exactly what to do next. I let Olivia move in, not out of kindness, but curiosity. I wanted to see how she'd handle relying on me, the brother she'd spent years looking down on. She arrived the next morning, a shell of her former self, hair messy, clothes wrinkled, eyes hollow. My friend Emily, who'd endured Olivia's cruelty for years, was furious. The tension was suffocating, but Olivia avoided us, hiding in the guest room, drowning in shame. Then my parents called. My mother pretended to be grateful, but her tone was fake. My father demanded Olivia move back home. They couldn't stand the idea of their perfect daughter depending on me. Days later, I overheard my mother pressuring Olivia to ask me for money. The hypocrisy was staggering. After years of mocking me, they now saw me as their next ATM. I confronted Olivia. "If you ask me for money for them, you're out." She didn't argue. The final reckoning came at my grandparents' house. My parents, panicking, tried to guilt me into supporting the family. But my grandmother exploded, exposing how they'd leeched off Olivia while belittling me. The room went silent. Afterward, Olivia finally admitted the truth. "They used me," she said, her voice trembling. "And I let them." I cut my parents off for good. No screaming, no drama, just quiet finality. My grandparents, disgusted, rewrote their will, disinheriting my parents and leaving everything to me. The aftermath? My parents spiraled into financial ruin, begging relatives for help. Olivia moved away, started therapy, and even apologized to me. And me? For the first time in my life, I was free. Months later, my mother sent a desperate email, pleading for money. My father's message was darker. "You'll regret this." But I just smiled. They wanted a golden child. Turns out, they picked the wrong one. In the months that followed, the truth about my parents' financial situation became even more shocking. It turned out they hadn't just been relying on Olivia's money. They'd been living far beyond their means for years. When my grandparents hired a financial investigator, they discovered my parents had taken out multiple mortgages on their house, accumulated massive credit card debt, and even taken loans against their retirement accounts. All while pretending to be comfortably middle class. The irony? The lavish lifestyle they'd used to humiliate me, the expensive dinners, the luxury vacations, the constant upgrades to their home, had all been funded by Olivia's earnings. And now that the money was gone, their entire world was collapsing. Meanwhile, Olivia surprised everyone. She moved to a smaller city, took a modest job at a local law firm, not the high-powered corporate world she'd been in before, and started therapy to unpack years of manipulation and pressure. The most shocking moment came when she sent me a long email, apologizing for everything. "I spent years believing I was better than you," she wrote. "But the truth is, I was just their puppet. They made me feel special so they could use me. And the worst part? I looked down on you for being free. We're not close, not after everything, but we text occasionally. Last I heard, she was dating a teacher and had adopted a rescue dog. A far cry from the high-powered attorney persona she once flaunted my parents, however, couldn't accept their downfall. They tried everything. Guilt trips. My mother left tearful voicemails about how family sticks together, conveniently forgetting how they'd treated me. Threats. My father sent a furious email claiming he'd cut me out of the family forever, as if that was a punishment and not a relief. Fake emergencies. They even called me, claiming my mother was sick and needed help with medical bills. When I asked for proof, they hung up. The most pathetic attempt? They showed up at my workplace pretending they just wanted to talk. Security escorted them out. Then came the biggest shock of all. My grandparents, furious at how my parents had treated Olivia and me, didn't just disinherit them. They set up trust funds for us instead. When my parents found out, they lost it. My mother screamed at my grandmother over the phone, calling her a spiteful old woman. My father actually showed up at their house, demanding they reconsider. My grandfather's response? "You made your bed. Now lie in it." Where we are now. It's been a year since I cut them off. Olivia is rebuilding her life. My parents? Last I heard, they downsized to a tiny apartment, and my father had to take a part-time job to make ends meet. As for me, I used part of the inheritance to start my own business, something my parents would have mocked me for even attempting. And the best part? For the first time in my life, I don't care what they think. They spent years telling me I'd never be as successful as Olivia. But in the end, I'm the one who got free. If you enjoyed this story and felt the emotions behind it, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences and heartfelt stories. Your support means the world, and it helps us bring more content like this to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.